All right, it's Friday, which means it's time for off and on the clock. You guys punch out, we're punching in, hopping in drafts, talking through strategy for the Battle Royale contest. The lobby is stuffed with all kinds of action for us. And of course, we will build some of our classic pick'em entries here as well. It's off and on the clock. I'm Pete. We're here with the Badge Bros. Let's do it. Happy Friday, fellas. We got John Warner and Nez. Nez, just like me, fresh haircut here today?
Yeah. Shout out my brother-in-law. He was in town for Thanksgiving, and he's got his own like little side gig barbershop thing that he does at school. He gives away $20 cuts, which like in this economy, it's just like unheard of. So he has no. I'm telling him like you gotta up that up by 100%. But anyways, yeah, he hooked me up real nice, real nice. So I thought I'd show it off for the folks. Thank you.
Yeah. John, you are looking completely disheveled. On the other hand, you've been some late nights. I hear, John. Are you doing good?
Man. I had a couple late nights this week, actually. Yeah, went to war with this guy from China that I played a couple times before in the past on GG Poker. There, I stayed up till 3 one night and then 4 the other night. But I did a little grooming myself, gentlemen. I don't know if you guys can tell, but Movember's over. I'm back.
Wow, you and Arthur Smith finally letting it go.
Two of the sharpest minds of the games, their respective games.
Hey, God, don't leave us hanging. Who won the great international Canadian and Chinese battle?
Not me.
Oh no!
This guy is he's wild, man. It's like it's like one of the most high variance spots you can have. Like this guy, even for heads up, like he's pretty insane. So it's like one of those spots where you just expect to have like huge swings, and that's why I stayed up all night.
Look at you. Well, we won't get into the poker sims on today's show. Right before we were all mumbling to ourselves, this is a great slate. I've already gotten a chance to draft a decent amount of teams, although I would say I've been more distracted by all of the contest offerings this week. Like normally I have last week I was laser focused on Dog Bowl. Weeks before that I was pretty much all in on Battle Royale. This week I'm like, got to get this 20 max in, got to get these 3 maxes in before they fill. What have you guys been dabbling in contest wise so far?
I got my hurry ups in, and I'm trying to max this week's BR. I haven't maxed a BR other than the turkey yet this season because I've been so Dog Bowl focused, and I'm really liking, loved battling for that second seat all season long. But it's kind of nice to just like do the old fashioned BRs and the normal payout structures of the goal line stands, and not. So I'm excited to have that sweat this Sunday. But I'm at 90 entries for the Battle Royale thus far, and been loving it. Yeah.
I'm way behind you. I think my goal is to get to 100 this week. I don't think I'm going to be able to get to 150. What about you, John?
I set my number on, was it Wednesday's show or Monday's show, Nez? I set my number at 75.
Yeah.
And everyone took the lower. But I will do my best to get to 75. I'm at 20 right now. 18 to be exact, actually. So I can't round up when I'm going for 75. But I've only been doing the Battle Royale. I've been doing a lot of hoops this week.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing for you guys too. I mean, when you layer in all of the other daily contests you're drafting, it's hard to just have like a blast off mode. But this stretch here, Friday and Saturday, it's going to be time to pile in here. And I assume so far on the channel this week, you guys have talked about how epically nice this Battle Royale payout structure is.
Oh yeah. Definitely made note of how smooth it is.
Yeah, I got even some comments. Like we talked about it a little bit on Lulz yesterday, and Brian was talking about how brutal some of the payout cutoffs have been on Redacted for him lately. And so if you guys haven't taken a peek at it this week, the Battle Royale, $300,000 total prize pool, really nice getting that back up there again after a couple week dip. First place 30,000, second 20,000, third 15,000, fourth 10,000, and you go all the way down to where 10th place is a third of the first place prize pool, which is generally a good rule of thumb of like a really nice smooth payout structure.
Yeah, it's really nice to see. I mean, like You see some of these other guys on Redacted take these crazy swings in showdown slates that are like a fraction of a point, and the difference being like hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's just so sickening where it's like, oh yeah, this is a good way to just have like fun and exposure to a lot of money.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure. And again, too, like even if you get intimidated by the Nez's maxing here, all the other contests with the 20 max in there are really, really nice, especially too, because some of those have been pretty time boxed as well. And we do have like lots of new stuff where to me, that's always kind of like a little bit of a trick with them. But knowing that some of those are about to close or have already closed, I think makes them even more attractive from a strategic standpoint.
Yeah, like the Zach Moss thing, like this week was definitely one which like he hasn't really moved a ton on Underdog, which I think kind of speaks to him just like in general this week. Like maybe we are a little frothy projection wise, but I still think he's a great click at value. The problem is there's just so many running backs to click. But yeah, no, what you were saying with those time box, those small entry contests, those are awesome. Great ways to like even the playing field. And Neumy and Hope have been offering a lot of those. So shout out to them for that. I know a lot of people, those are favorable for everybody.
Yeah, and if people haven't noticed, so Neumy doesn't even communicate in character or words in English language. He exclusively has one emoji at his disposal. It actually took me the other day a while to find it. I'm like searching Notepad. I'm like, what the fuck is this thing? It's actually just pencil. You search pencil, and then you can find what Neumy. This poor guy. You know how you give like a child, like they call it like a dumb phone, right? Where it can just like call someone or call 911. That's what Neumy has. Like it's just literally a phone that allows him to draft an Underdog employee contest and a giant pencil emoji button. Start using your words, Neumy. Use your words.
Oh, God. That's all he does anymore. It's the best.
All right, where do we want to start with this week 13 slate? Let's keep it maybe 6-person draft focused for right now. Maybe just game environments, some places you guys have been wanting to load up.
Yeah, for sure.
Here, maybe I'll bring up the hub because it just makes it
Yeah.
prettier to look through and talk through there. Actually, a little shout out before we jump into everything here. We got 2 new members to the channel. There, you love to see it. Oh, now I lost the chat right as I did it. One was Keaton Hill and one was Run Good Rick.
There we Kiwi go. Cat.
Yeah, welcome. Kiwi Cat. Beautiful. Thank you guys so much for the support.
Got to get in early, man, because the sooner you become a member, the quicker you can earn that red badge, which does take 3 months of on the membership timeline. So got to earn that red badge here with with your time spent.
That's it's very fitting for you guys to now have like another batch of people being like, how do I get my badge? I mean, we've already been through that with Underdog. Yep. Now it's how do I get my YouTube badge? It's a little easier, a little more straightforward.
$1,000 in a super chat will fast track you to your red badge.
That's such a good bit. You can buy your badge. Let's go.
Yeah. Like a Fortnite skid.
Yeah. Nez will come over to your house with a red Sharpie and on your laptop will just draw a badge manually next to your username.
I will be there. I will be there. Yeah, so obviously we're starting with our game environments. I will say that like for me though, my first reaction of the slate was just like the disparity in the positions. So by that I mean running back is just insanely deep, and that carries over to 12-person. But in 6-person, running back is so deep. So and conversely, wide receiver is not. To me, there's a very strong tier of like the top 12 running backs, and some of those games that I like from these from these wide receivers, I guess from the top is Broncos and Texans, of course, which is expected to be really excited. But John, you sharply pointed out on Wednesday that you liked the Broncos side of this game as a sneaky matchup, and projections are backing up your thoughts on that as well. And this one is really sneaky because Sutton and Russ and Javonte do not go drafted in 6-person drafts more often than not. So this just right off the bat seems like an awesome leverage spot. Do you think you're gonna put your money where your mouth is this week and get to some Russ stuff this week?
Yeah, I mean, like I can already I can already say that I have 7
Nice.
Russ stacks.
Let's go. Okay.
And I've only done 18 drafts. So
Nice.
I think just in general, there's 2 things I've been thinking about a lot with these contests with 6-person. That you have to create leverage for yourself in one of 2 ways. And I think it's hoops that has really kind of like opened my third eye to this. And it's all that matters is ceiling on some rosters. And then all that matters is game environment correlation on other rosters. But those 2 things don't overlap a ton in my process right now. And I'm speaking specifically to 6-persons with like 6-person rosters in 6-person contests. I don't know. That's like been one thing that's been really messing with my mind in NBA right now is like I just X dudes out that I don't think have 60 balls in their range of outcomes. And now I've been kind of like reverse engineering that into NFL and being like, if you don't have like 25 in your range of outcomes, I don't care what the slate looks like. I don't care if we think we have garbage games. I don't care. I'm just Xing you off. And I think that's something new that I'm doing this week.
And I think to your point, man, there are definitely guys with 25 points in their range of outcomes that are in really, kind of gross spots this week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know we just talked about the chalky Broncos Texans, but are we breathing some life into these Browns pass catchers with Flacco back? Are you letting yourself like get to Amari Cooper? I mean, it's kind of an upgrade, is it not?
I think it's definitely an upgrade. And the other really big difference to it, and I was reading Kyren's walkthrough this morning, is, DTR was stealing a decent amount of the passing volume of the rushing attempts too, just because of the designed rushes. And so those are going to be completely off the board right now. I assume Joe Flacco has the mobility of, Aaron Rodgers coming back from a torn Achilles in 80 days. Like that's just kind of the level of mobility I'm going to assume. So yeah, I don't mind it. And like we have seen Amari be very, very good with just average quarterback play. Yeah, I think it's interesting, especially if you think, David Njoku's getting drafted in all of these contests and Amari and Elijah Moore are not. I do not think I'm getting there from like a double stack perspective, but almost treating them like you do the Steelers last week, where it's like, just take one Steeler at the end. Doesn't matter which one. I think you could do that with the Browns.
I've just been thinking of other wide receivers to get to because my wide receiver player pool is just so insanely condensed, and I don't feel bad about it, but like I do want to kind of stray away from the usual like 14 guys that I'm taking over and over and over in drafts right now. My mind just kind of went to the Browns there with Flacco there. Now on the flip side, like Cooper Kupp and sorry, John, did you want to?
No, that's where I was going to go with it too. I was like the opposite, the counter to like expanding your pool is just getting hyper concentrated on 2 extreme outliers in terms of talent that we haven't seen from recently. Haven't seen the spot obviously isn't that great. And you just literally go, yeah, you're never going to get Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua in the 6th round again. I'm taking it every single time. And you just, put all your eggs in that basket.
Yeah, like I'm looking at that and I'm thinking like maybe I do need to give them some more better looks, but tell you what, man, I haven't done it yet and I'm like 90 drafts through.
How do you guys think we would be drafting this week if instead of Tyler Higbee having 2 touchdowns last week, Cooper Kupp got 1 and Puka got the other? Where would their ADPs be?
It'd be where they've been going basically every other week.
Right. And that's just some random touchdown variance that Higbee fell into.
Yeah. But I think the point is that they didn't score last week and they haven't been good like for a minute since like Stafford came back from the injury and Kupp, keeps getting banged up and like dealing with his injury stuff. There's some like real question marks here. This is not an easy matchup. So I know that the talent is there and it's like such an affordable price. And there's definitely ownership leverage too, in my opinion. I haven't like tracked it too closely, but I mean, anecdotally, man, I do not take these Rams wide receivers this week. So I do think that there's some big time leverage there. And I know that I'm not alone either in the wide receivers that I like. I mean, it's a race to take the ones that I'm taking.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Are you guys really on board with like pushing up that front end of wide receiver? You get 2 of them and then you take scatter shot RB stuff later, because that'll kind of leave us underexposed to the mid tier of running back, which would primarily be Alvin Kamara and Zach Moss, unless Zach Moss ends up falling.
Yeah,
Zach Moss
I mean,
I will say.
I kind of like have been manually adjusting my own ranks, and it's in my kind of top 12 or whatever, CMC is the only running back in there.
Yep.
And then you got like Hurts and Tua, and then the rest are all wide receivers.
Yep.
And because too, like one thing, when I'm always looking for like the scroll down plays, the hidden gem plays, it's a little bit harder this week, I think, to find like the really clean stacks in the game environments. It is way more one-off plays for me this week. And like the one-off scroll down plays at running back are just so good. Like I like Javonte. I think Breece Hall is still a pretty good guy who's not getting drafted in a lot of these
just
contests.
Popped up on the injury report like
did
10
he really
minutes ago.
Oh no,
yeah.
shit. I did not see that.
Q tag.
Great. So you can put that aside for a second. Ramondre Stevenson, I think, would be another guy that can fall in that bucket. These guys who you like the talent, the workload's there, they can break off big plays, and they're not. And then the number one selling point, they're not getting drafted in 100% of these. And the other common theme is like, I guess outside of Javonte, and I'm very interested in that game environment, these other guys I just want to use as a one-off piece. And even when you guys are talking about Puka, like I think Puka looks like a great play too. I'm probably maybe a mini correlation, right? You do them with Njoku, with Ford, with one of those wide receivers, but it's still like, I think there's a pretty big game environment opportunity cost this week of like, I really only see 3, maybe 4 games that can go nuts.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. And that's how I've been drafting like all week. And I don't feel bad about it. I feel good. Like it just feels like some of these spots are just really can't miss. My highest owned player right now is Debo. And
okay,
interesting.
And I am a little worried about the lack of Ayuk, but I'm at 40% Debo Samuel this week.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that means you're pretty heavy on that game just in general, or are you using
Brock Purdy's my number
one-off?
2 quarterback?
There you go. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a game environment thing more so than just like, I love Debo as that one-off in the 4th.
Yeah. I mean, I think it goes hand in hand. Like I'll take Debo no
Sure,
matter
yeah.
like in any lineup this week. His ADP should be like right beside Brandon Ayuk's this week, in my opinion. And I'm just like really shocked that it's not.
While we're talking about that game environment, the super leverage play is back. I'm not sure that he's going to play, but the doubtful tag now has flipped back to a Q tag. Tight end 12. We just lost Schultz as a tight end. Njoku, whatever. Logan Thomas, whatever. Juwan Johnson, there's opportunity. Dallas Goedert is tight end 12 right now. Might be in the best game of the week, and now has flipped back to a Q tag. So if you want even just some swap equity to make some decisions for later or whatever, he's
I think he's gonna be a big part of my drafting plans over the next bit, just because this tight end slate is I mean, we say it every week, like gross, but I mean it more in like the game theory perspective too, where it's just like there's only so many times I'm gonna click like Trey McBride and George Kittle and Laporta. And then like I traditionally have a really hard time with like tight ends 4 through 6 who don't project that much differently than tight ends 7 through 10 and are getting drafted in 100%. So I've been taking a good bit of Juwan Johnson, a good bit of Logan Thomas, but even these guys are kind of getting pushed up. So to have a guy that has a real ceiling that isn't going to be rostered in all of these drafts, like just put it on a screaming billboard of a target.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. The other one that I've been looking at and mixed in 3 of the drafts now is I built some kind of contrarian Justin Herbert stacks with Gerald Everett and Austin Eckler, or Gerald Everett and Jalen Guyton, because my brain's broken. But just anticipating, that DNP stuff from Keenan Allen turning out poorly. Well, how can I create a roster that will be low owned, that'll leverage that situation more than just a swap, right?
Yeah. Nez, let me ask you, it sounds like you're kind of in line with me of only liking a few different game environments. Are you doing any kind of big stacks? Are you still kind of like skinny bring back at max?
No, I'm definitely like stacking Stroud for sure. Definitely like my biggest priority there. Not necessarily, and I'm trying to get him before I do Tank Dell, and then see if I can kind of force Tank Dell to fall. And if not, then like there's Nico Collins at ADP 30 for me, which is like really no big deal at all. And then like Waddle, if I miss out on Tyreek, and then Tua will generally fall. That's a really fun one in that game environment. And then the Purdy stuff, getting Purdy has been really pretty like just very easy and just a lot of fun in that game, which I feel like the public for whatever reason like is not ready to admit that the Eagles just are just fantasy football goodness and give up a ton of points. They've given up points to almost like everybody they played this week. Now they're facing one of the most efficient offenses in football, and it's like people, I'm just really surprised that the prices, at least on Underdog, are not more expensive than they are. So I just keep going back to that game. And then I have a decent amount of Goff too. I think it's because if I end up with Amon-Ra, I'm kind of missing out on the juicy pieces for the Texans and the Dolphins. And then Goff is just like there because nobody takes Goff if they don't have Amon-Ra. So I don't love the Goff one. I'd much rather have those three that I mentioned.
I've been playing that one through the run. I've been playing that as like, give me a one-off Lions running back late as just my piece of that one. I don't know. I'm not sure there's enough. Better. Yeah, I'm not sure there's enough to push on the Saints side, Like it feels like there should be some points scored and there should be a little bit of back and forth, but I don't know. Maybe just give me the David Montgomery in the last round as the leverage off of Amon-Ra going every draft. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Don't love it.
Yeah, that one is a little tough. I do think Juwan Johnson's a really good play. He's again another one of those you use the, comparisons to redacted. Like you look at, we mentioned Russ Wilson like pacing to be one of the most popular quarterbacks because of the value, but just completely overlooked here.
Yep.
Juwan Johnson going to be the most popular tight end with all this Saints stuff. Everyone piles in, hey, available targets, decent game environment, but then just is going to get squeezed by the structure of the contest.
Can you guys give me a second to just have my moment, have my bit right here? If we had Taysom Hill on this slate as a tight end, is he tight end one?
No.
I probably still take Kittle ahead of him, but I think you wouldn't get pushback from me at 2.
At tight end.
Yeah, probably tight end 2. A lot of this does hinge on Olave. And I wonder where total goes if Olave is out, because 47 even with Olave in seems kind of like hopeful by that number. But
right,
that is,
yeah, it does.
But he's like the one piece that like after my wide receiver pool goes, he's always like there, and he lasts in drafts really long. And I mentioned it on Wednesday, him being a nice like 6th-round pick because you get the swap eligibility. Ideally, your wide receiver room is taken care of before Olave, but I still think that he represents good swap equity, which I know that we've got 130 people in here and we are running a little promo thanks to the official Underdog account. If you draft a questionable player, this is just evergreen. If you draft a questionable player and they are ruled out, you do get a swap, and that swap is based on your rankings of that week, and whoever was not drafted in that room is the TLDR there. But yeah, shout out to everybody here from the Underdog official Twitter.
Let's actually just piggyback on that through the lens of the specific Dallas Goedert thing, just so people can kind of know how to do it. So say you want to take Dallas Goedert right now as your last pick. Maybe you got Jalen Hurts stacks or whatever. Then you wake up on Sunday here. Unfortunately, Dallas Goedert's not going to play. If you don't touch anything, Underdog will still give you the top tight end based on your ranks. If you haven't set ranks, it's going to be based on the ADP. Now, I think that the swap there, if you don't manually adjust it, could be bad, because then the majority of the field is getting swapped onto the same guy. And then you're going to run into the same issues where you're taking a guy that doesn't project that well, that now has really high exposure because everyone auto swapped to him. So I would manually boost up a couple guys you like. Maybe you like Brevin Jordan. Maybe you want to go back to the Kyle Pittswell. Just pick any of these guys that are going, whoever you like, and then manually push them up. And then your Dallas Goedert stuff will automatically pivot to who you have highest rank there.
Yeah, very well said.
Yeah, and you just find that right here. Rankings tab, NFL, and then whatever slate it is that you're playing. Any other game environment stuff, or you guys want to do some position scrolls, some gems, some scroll the F downs?
Yeah, I guess the only game we didn't really talk about, I guess it dovetails with scroll the F downs, is Nez mentioned the Debo stuff, but it is hard to find sneaky gems in that Eagles Niners game, right? Like basically everyone you would want a piece of outside of Goddard is getting drafted in every contest. So do you guys have any thoughts on that? Are you pulling different uniqueness lovers, or how are you thinking about that?
Well, I mean, Swift is the leverage. Like
Okay,
Swift isn't going, he's only going in the 12s. So, I mean, if you just want to flip the script, I mean, it's obviously the worst matchup that you could offer in that game. I mean, maybe you could argue that CMC on the ground versus Philly is worse, but yeah. Anyways, the leverage piece of that would be, hey, 6th round Swift. So that's definitely something that I'm just gonna, I mean, maybe not ape in on, but maybe a little something like a mini with him and Hurts, or just a skinny stack of that game with him and then like a Debo or him and a CMC.
Yeah, and I think again, Kyren had some good notes about this, because everyone has in their head, like if you just look at the DVP stuff for Niners run defense, and it's like, oh, you can't run on the Niners, and it's not that they have this incredible run defense, it's that teams know that the Niners are going to put up points and they're going to have to keep pace, and so they elect to throw more. And it's not just like, oh, we're stonewalled, we're not even going to attempt it. In Swift's his rushing share has been locked and loaded. He's not ceding that much. And it does, if I'm going to do my hand in the dirt eye test, that he's getting back some of those explosive runs that we saw earlier in the year. Like I remember that Commanders game where he's just ripping off big chunk gains. It seems like he's getting his sea legs again a little bit. So I like the Swift shout. I haven't been drafting a ton of him, but I think I need to grab some more.
I specifically like Swift if you have no other pieces of this game as well. I think like from the standpoint that everything else fails, Purdy is like playing like dog shit, turning the ball over, and it's just like the DeAndre Swift show. Then that becomes like, I think, pretty strong leverage, and I think a script that has potential to play out. But for me, I think another unique way, I guess, would be to like push up Hurts and assume that the Niners are scoring at will, pair some of the Niners pass catchers with that Jalen Hurts pick, and just assume that they are dropping back the pass a ton. And with the dropbacks come the scrambles, come the passing volume. So running backs with Jalen Hurts, I think, are a ton of fun, but I'm not really saying anything profound there.
I like it. Shout out to a couple new members. Here we go.
Oh,
Mount Rushmore's finest, Sam Olsen and Levi. Levi's always hanging out. Love to see it. Thank you,
Welcome.
guys.
Love that.
Love that indeed. I gotta ask you guys.
This is a game.
I gotta ask you guys about this one, right? Because Rachaad White goes every draft. We just got bad news on. Well, not. We got
bad news for my boy, for the boy himself, Chris Godwin. But
yeah.
Good news for us? Question mark?
Yeah, exactly, right? Like,
what's the news?
Maybe this. Chris Godwin is game time decision now from this one. So, I mean, it's so gross. It's a 36.5 total, but I mean, you can kind of have your way with Carolina, can you not? And we've done Baker doubles and Baker skinnies in way worse situations than this. And now all of a sudden it's literally only Evans. Like Evans goes every draft, and then Rachaad White probably goes. It's almost every draft now, but if you factor in like the totality of drafts this week, I would venture to guess that it was like 85% because he was going undrafted early in the week. I don't know. Can we just go to this game environment and run something funky that no one else is doing, like a Baker Cade Otton with a Thielen bring back or something like this? Like, is that too insane?
I think the only part of that is insane to me is I think I'd still rather do a different quarterback, but I'm treating Baker like Stafford, basically at this point where I'm like, I'll still stack up this game, but just like not use the quarterback. Like I'd just rather play Russell Wilson than Baker, even in an Otton, Mike Evans, Thielen stack, I think.
Okay. Yeah, well said. That's where I'm at. Like, if I can help it, ideally my quarterback player pool is only like 3 players deep. And if I have to go outside of that, I will, but I'm just looking at that as like one-off potential, but I mean the Bucks. I mean, if my math is correct, have the same implied team total as the Eagles this week. Is that total? That might be way off. My math is that is but it's a couple points shy. But now without Godwin, I mean, we just have more and more, projectable volume towards Rachaad White, who just like has one of the best roles in football against the Panthers team that we always just flowchart our way to every single week. On top of, like you said, Evans, who gets double-digit targets every single week. Both of those guys are excellent plays, and they're very much. I mean, they're getting drafted every time, but they're getting drafted a lot by myself as well. They're very much in the top of my player pool as one-offs.
Nez, to your point there, like we think about that, Eagles go drafted. How many Eagles go every single draft? 3 of them, 4 of them, and
3.75 because sometimes Swift, sometimes Goddard.
Right. Yeah. And we're trying to gal brain our way to get more Goddard, to get more whatever. They have the same implied team total as the Chargers. They have a 0.5 higher than the Broncos. They have a 0.5 higher than the Rams, and they have a 1.25 higher than the Colts. And those other teams basically have one component getting drafted.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yep. Yeah, that's why I was kind of that it is really hard to kind of attack that game in a creative way. And then even like with the Swift stuff, right, where it's like getting the Hurts, AJB, GM is pretty hard, which makes the Hurts Devontae really chalky, which makes Hurts with DeAndre Swift not ideal because with the tush push shit, they're pretty negatively correlated in the ceiling outcomes. And so then like I'm like, really, it's only Hurts with Goddard is kind of like what stands out to me is kind of intriguing.
Yeah. The other one that I would go higher implied team total than all those previously mentioned teams. This team is somehow 7-4. This team finally put up 400 yards of total offense, and nobody is drafting a single player, even though they're in a cupcake matchup versus the Cards. So Freiermuth the only guy going.
Yep.
And I like the running backs. Kind of seems like a good spot. And I'll go back to the Jaylen Warren. Well, I made a stance on Wednesday that I think, despite what we saw from Najee, and Najee does own like more of the green zone work, but Jaylen Warren still has the more explosive profile. Obviously.
Wait, Ned, you're saying that you can't win tournaments with just 15-yard rushes alone?
I feed my family off of chunk plays, baby. Does that count as a chunk play?
The Najee Hive on Twitter was quote retweeting an Underdog tweet and told me they were going to win millions because Najee breaks off 15-yard runs.
Hey, listen, all that to say that Najee is just not as bad as we want to hope and think, and it's just so much fun to troll on the Najee front. That's been my favorite battlefield all season long. But no, I think both are in play, but I will I have been taking more Jaylen than Najee, and I will do it in 6-person drafts. Another running back I see too is Ramondre. I think is pretty interesting against the Chargers.
Yeah. I wanted to bring this one up because we brought it up early on Wednesday there that, good source of initial projections that are up before any other site is the Fantasy Life stuff here. And we used it to illustrate, Zach Moss is going to be popping. Alvin Kamara is going to be popping. These guys are, and Kyren were mispriced. I wanted to show you the Gibbs one and the Ramondre one, which you nailed there. That's where, oh man, like those guys go undrafted a good amount, or you can get them every single draft in the 6th round if you want. And we're talking about fractions of fantasy points different between some of these other targets that are going every single draft.
It's so deep. It's so deep that like the formula, and I know I'm not alone in this, is just like get your elite quarterback, get your wide receivers, and then like what running backs are left, and then just mix that up. That's how I've been drafting. And that's why I think it's been so easy for me to get so many drafts in, because that's been the formula and it's been really easy to replicate in various lobbies. I mean, this is such an awesome running back slate.
It is.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to pivot us to the scrolls.
I was just going to real quick talk about Kyren Williams because he's interesting to me in that Fantasy Life has a much more bullish projection than ETR. ETR is pretty low on him. Looking at just like sentiment stuff with ownership on Redacted, it doesn't seem like he's going to be a super popular play. I I like my just, middle Q brain is just like, or maybe it's left or right. I forget how to do this meme properly.
Yeah, you're on the tail ends.
I'm on the tail ends.
Yeah.
It's just like, holy cow, this guy just went for 40. Sean McVay just cannot stop putting the ball in his stomach. I'm not really concerned about the matchup. So I like Kyren a lot. I am thinking about other ways. Like, could you use him? Like you said, maybe you pair him opposite an Amari Cooper. Like if you're playing that game script where McVay is, able to justify giving him 25 plus touches again, it probably means the Browns are hanging around, right? As opposed to, I guess I can't really envision a world where the Browns have a big lead, where they're forced to throw a ton. But I am just wanting to think through that. If we agree, maybe his projection is fragile. If we see multiple sources being in different spots, how do you kind of leverage that to your advantage?
I like where Fantasy Life is, and it's not just because they're on the thumbnail. Like I think that they are correct in just like doing the 2018 fantasy football analysis of, hey, this guy just had a great game and he gets a lot of good and he has a great profile for usage. Like let's just play this guy. The Browns team is not good. Let's play the running back against the team that's favored. Like
who do you guys like more in a vacuum? Take away ADP, just everything. Zach Moss versus Kyren Williams.
Zach Moss.
Ooh.
I think you could project Zach Moss for, which this sounds weird because Kyren's role has been elite. I think you can project Zach Moss for 3 more touches than him.
Okay.
And then, sorry, I'll go one layer deeper. Is the O-line versus D-line matchup for the Rams and stuff. Like Myles Garrett might just feast.
I think that's more like a pass rush thing, is it not? Or is he like?
But it still helps.
Yeah.
He's defensive player of the year right now.
I did, for me, I think I am more Kyren. I think it's definitely like it's borderline splitting hairs here, but I think the matchup is. I think we look like we can get some more points. I like the offense for LA more than the Colts. And I'm still living rent free in my mind the Titans run defense. I still can't just like put that to rest completely.
Yeah, they're not actually.
Yeah, they're not. I think it's been a bit noisy, but it's not a smash spot, right? It's not the Panthers, but it's also not it's not like the Eagles defensive line or something like that.
It just has me thinking like I don't want to like be caught like chasing that steam. If Zach Moss finds his way, breaks 20 in the ADP and is now like a 3-4 turn guy, like now I'm likely not getting him as much. Like there's just when you look at these projections and knowing that we draft 36 players, I'm just not going to be chasing. I'm not going to be chasing Zach Moss's ADP if it does end up getting too frothy.
I don't think it will. In the at least where he's settled right now, right? Like there isn't an opportunity cost. You're not having to take him over elite wide receivers. Like almost all the good wide receivers are always gone by the time he's on, at the top of the ADP board. Nez, you could quibble about taking Debo over him, but like, and I like Nico too, but we're still talking about like guys who can continuously command like a 30% target share, and like they're all off the board.
Mm-hmm. It also does speak like just because we've kind of beat this to death, but like the depth at the running back position, it even if I miss out on Zach Moss, like I'm kind of fine. Like we just saw on the last projection screen, like Gibbs is projecting for the same amount on that platform, right? So it's kind of like, well, I'll just take Gibbs, who's a little bit more leverage and whatever. I think the reason Zach Moss isn't pushing up is like people are less scared to miss on running back this week.
Definitely. Definitely playing a big part of it. Just the landscape on the whole. There's just not a lot of urgency to force Zach Moss up the board for sure.
Nez, you alluded to the fact that you're pushing up quarterback this week. Are those the 3 in which you're pushing up? You said Purdy's pretty high owned for you. Is that just a stacking maneuver, or
I'll take Purdy.
This up?
I'll take. Like, I'm sorry if you're in a lobby with me and you've got a sick pairing of Niners quarterbacks. If those top 3 are gone, man, and I'm on the board, like, and I've got 2 wide receivers, I'm taking Brock Purdy from you. I apologize.
Straight to jail. Straight to jail.
Listen, man, it's the bell curve meme again. Brock Purdy scores a lot of fantasy points. And that left tail meme from these gauntlet drafts from last season where we were tilting over naked Brock Purdy. This guy's might have been up to something, man. And I'm just so I'm not overthinking the Phillies. Listen to me. The Eagles, as far as the flow chart goes, with pass catchers and quarterbacks against the Eagles, I'm just so into it. And Purdy for me, I think should be prioritized. I know projections will tell you otherwise, that the gap isn't that far. In my opinion, the gap is very, very sizable between this crop and what's next. Like I do not believe Justin Herbert has like that. I think that gap should be way larger between Herbert and Purdy.
Yeah, I got someone outed me for rolling that in what was the 3 max that filled earlier today?
Is that the play action pass?
Yeah. And I will say, like, that's the only spot I've done it is in the super small field stuff, where I do really think that you don't need, the 99th percentile outcome. You don't have to hit the right stacking partner. Whereas I do think, like, I'd be pretty shocked if a naked Brock Purdy team won the Battle Royale. Would I be shocked if it won one of these sub 5,000 person contests? Like, not at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's a good, just evergreen statement and stance about the difference in when we talk through different styles of contest, right? Like, this knowledge is applicable, but it is contest specific, right? Whether you can go naked quarterback or naked rushing quarterback, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Your guys' favorite scrolls here. I don't know if it was too aggressive to put Russ and Javonte on the cover there, but we did it anyways. Russ has been a favorite of mine. I think a favorite of almost everybody will be just the Sam Howell passing attempts and, how he just gets to 300 yards seemingly every single week there. Whom else is in consideration for you guys?
Those are my 2 favorite. I mean, it's crazy how, and Jam was talking about it a little bit too, about how people still kind of view Sam Howell. I wrote him up as my hidden gem, and I know he's just on the fringe, right? As far as getting not drafted in 100%, but he's probably 40, 50% just based on this ADP.
Yeah, I think you can, with the onesies positions, I think we can quantify ADP differently than the way in which we quantify the other positions. So yeah, I would venture to guess that like 34.3, if he was like wide receiver or running back, would be like something in the 30th range. But at a onesie position, it actually makes him like 50,
Yeah. That's what I've been kind of operating on is 50. But I was just going to say the past, so since week 8, he's averaging 51 dropbacks in 46 attempts per game. And these are his QB finishes: QB1, QB10, QB3, QB9, QB12.
Sounds like he's due.
Yeah. And so obviously if he's the QB10, 9, 12, that does nothing for you on this slate, but QB1, QB3 at 50% exposure in this contest. And it's one of the better spots for him as far as being pushed, not necessarily having like a ferocious pass rush bearing down on him like he's had the previous couple of weeks. It lines up very well for a Sam Howell game.
If you just talk ceiling, like I was talking earlier there and stuff like that, like Sam Howell is like the epitome of it, right? Where it's like, you just listed out those outcomes. I'm not sure, Gardner, Baker, Kenny Pickett, Derek Carr, any of these guys have quarterback 1 on the week, like range outcome in their bags. But, Howell, I think, does the best of this group. Maybe Kyler, Russ, and I'd probably say Taysom has a better range of QB1 than 10 through 14 or 11 through 14. So yeah, I think it's just good to point out. Yeah, maybe we can laugh about he's due narrative, but it's also just good to point out that, like, yeah, man, he's done it before this year. We've seen it 2 weeks where he was QB1 or inside QB5 in the other week.
In Russ and Sam Howell, they're obviously not the exact same play, but like similar game environment play, right? Where it's a pace up spot, nice total, you're the underdog, and you've shown a competence as like a garbage time team. And Denver actually hasn't even been garbage time. They've won 5 straight, but I think it's fair to say on the road at Houston, they're probably going to be chasing this passing attack. And like Russ has been efficient. They've moved the ball. They get first downs. They're not just like stalling out and punting it off every drive. So like it's lining up really well for these guys. And then we're just getting the big ownership discount. And then it's fun because you can flip it, right? Like I talked about this with JM. You could take Tyreek and Waddle if Waddle falls and then stack it with Sam Howell as kind of just a bring back stack, because most people in these drafts who take Tyreek just take Tua at that turn. If you were able to get a Waddle fall, it's going to be pretty unique. You still get access to that game and you basically stack up the pieces, because it's impossible pretty much to get the Tua Waddle Tyreek. Has anyone GM'd that one? I don't think I've seen that one.
I haven't seen that tweeted at least. And on the Sam Howell thing too, his best pass catcher goes undrafted too.
Is Curtis?
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel, baby.
Yeah, that's one of the most obvious like leverage spots, you know, as far as one, he's been outperforming him, and two, he goes undrafted. Like the less obvious one, like this week's version of like the Olave Shaheed, it is Pittman and Josh Downs. You know, both of them had 13 targets last week. Josh Downs going undrafted, Pittman getting drafted in every contest. He was more efficient than Downs last week, but Downs really close to a touchdown, has had a similarly great role. So like, to me, that's my, like, I barely clicked Pittman this week. I don't think I will have much of him at all, because Josh Downs is just, it's like 100% exposure versus 0.
Right.
Yeah. And in that vein, I think Minshew is like my gross scroll down that I would maybe get to depending on how my team looks in a given draft. I would take him, not over Russ, of course, but you know, just depending on how my team's looking out. I think he's a pretty,
I was just thinking through, I haven't done this yet, but like Gardner with the big dog is probably a pretty logical correlation, where Tennessee has their way and Indy is having to play catch up here on the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah,
I was going to ask you guys.
Is cheap.
I was going to ask you guys, are we thinking about quarterback like wrong in terms of like, should we be bucketing them in players I'm comfortable taking naked and players I'll only take stacked? Or like, should we be bucketing them in terms of quarterbacks I'll only onslaught with and the other quarterbacks? Does that make sense? Because like for me,
say that again.
So for me, for like Gardner, he feels like a guy that I would only play never as a skinny stack, only as an onslaught stack. Whereas I would feel comfortable skinny stacking Kyler.
I wouldn't make it that arbitrary personally. Not in BRs. But I mean, I think you can. I think you certainly can, because Minshew only has like 2 targets. So
right.
I think you can, but I don't think you have to.
Sure. Yeah. I don't know. I just think like we've seen single quarterback win a lot this year, and that single quarterback is always of the elite variety. And then the weekends in which it doesn't win, we've seen pretty big onslaughts win, like wide receiver and running back from the same game. And then the other stack be like running back, wide receiver, running back, tight end, and quarterback from the same game.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it kind of goes back to the macro thing John was talking about, right? Where, you know, the leverage you're pulling, like ultimately what we're trying to do is build teams that the majority of the field isn't building, and that being mainly drafting off of ADP and kind of doing like light correlation within that ADP framework. And like the 2 ways that I like to deviate from that are, you know, the scroll down, the one-offs, no one else on the field or a large portion isn't going to have it, or the over correlation, where you are reaching over players who project better to get access to that specific game environment. And so I do think generally how John's describing like the Gardner thing, I do kind of, or sorry if it was Nez, like buy into that idea of like, I want the insane Tampa Bay Bucks, Houston Texans game. And then I just want like 5 guys, because I know how many people, like you're going to see a ton of CJ Stroud double stacks in Battle Royale, but like how many people will have 5 players from that game, you know, and 2 Broncos in there? Like that is going to represent such a smaller part of the field. So like, I think you could maybe chalk it up even a little bit more if you were over correlating, because that's the uniqueness lever you're pulling.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Something I got to be mixing in more here, I think. Especially with like the gross game environments, because how does a grosser game environment outside of like the chalk game environments get there? It's most likely everyone gets there, or it's super condensed on who gets there, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I would
the
say, running back.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Go ahead. Say.
No. I was just saying, like, I feel like obviously it shifts a little bit slate to slate, but in general, and I would say like on this slate, just like looking at these boards, it's like there's like 14 or 15 guys, right, that I think have access to probably a pretty unique ceiling, in a projectable sense, and then it's like so wide open after that. Like going back to your guys, just the end all be all scroll down mantra of like, you really like, you don't want to sacrifice. Someone was like in my comments on one of my videos being like, oh, you're too fixated on like who's not getting drafted. And it's like, I'm still drafting players who are getting drafted in every contest. Like I'm almost always off the top taking 3 studs who are drafted in 100%. The whole point is after those 3 studs are gone and those 18 studs are off the board, it's a pretty big melting pot of similar type of players and ceilings.
Right.
It's a perfect transition into the running backs.
That is a perfect transition. GA, we saw Naked Goff win, but Naked Goff win in the 12s is a little bit different. And it was like run back off of Kyle Pitts,
and it was Copper. So
yeah, and it's just whatever. Copper is
anything. Yeah, Midas touch for that guy.
Yeah. This is actually a good question from Levi though. Like, how many quarterbacks realistically outscore Taysom this week? Like, can Taysom be drafted in the 6th?
Not enough worth talking about.
Fair enough. Okay, scroll the F down at the running back. You just said Derrick Henry. That's a pretty smart one there. The Gibbs one is projecting just as well, but he's actually going at 30. He just sometimes goes undrafted. Nez's stamp of approval, 2 touchdown, Jalen Warren. We got good Devin Achane news here. He's going to play this week. I don't know what the touches are going to look like, but we never know what the touches are going to look like. Whom else are we going to add to this list, gentlemen?
You can keep going. Like, these are the names have not gotten that much worse. I mean, Montgomery, I think, is in consideration. Javonte is on the cover. He's in real consideration. Singletary is on, like,
Singletary.
That's good.
He's a fantastic click. He goes in the last round of goal line stands this week, and he is in one of the highest game totals on the slate, and just was on the field for 70% of snaps. I mean, Pierce is starting to work himself back in again, but I think it's pretty clearly that they favor Singletary over Pierce, and this is a nice game.
Yeah.
I need to look into the only one, and you guys had mentioned he had popped up on the injury report. Breece Hall was the other one I've been clicking there.
Let's see what he says. Listed questionable now. Holy smokes, they all are. It's a hamstring, Delvin with the shoulder, and Abanikanda with the illness.
Great.
Good Pittsburgh boy.
Yeah. I think we've covered the good ones there for sure.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else I think it's getting a little too gal brain because you have such good plays available in this like 11. We didn't even say Ramondre, and then the leverage that Swift represents, and then the Najee with the 7 runs over 15 yards or whatever. But like 11. This whole 11, oh my God.
Yep.
This whole like area makes it like so nice to scroll that you don't really even need to scroll further than this because they're offering the same amount of leverage as if you went down here, right? And they're going to project considerably better than like Antonio Gibson, even if it's a trailing script, blah, blah, blah.
Yep. That's one of the beauties of this, of like we toss it around a lot that you're like gal braining or scrolling down to find these like poorly projected players. You're not, like, you're getting players that project very well, that just by necessity, with only 36 players, 24 running backs, wide receivers getting taken, they're just not drafted. And it doesn't mean you have to draft bad players to do that.
Exactly.
I think we're all in lockstep here that the ceiling at wide receiver all exists in kind of like the first 2.5 rounds this week, and kind of grabbing 2 of those and then doing the scroll at the other positions makes a lot more sense. But there's going to be some leverage in scrolling here nonetheless. It's interesting to consider both Cup and Puka are not going in 100% of drafts and are actually considered scroll options this week. Good news on Olave with the practices, and then he had like a bullish note from I'll find it after. He just had a bullish note associated with Underdog NFL tweet there that he hasn't cleared yet, but they're hopeful or something like that. I can't remember the exact wording of it.
Yeah, they're giving him a chance, basically leaving the door open. There's a chance he clears in time for week 13. That was the latest. And just while I'm looking here, Goddard is now back to doubtful as well.
there goes that limited window of swappability leverage.
Yeah, I just saw that.
It
was a fun 24
minutes.
Yeah, and then obviously Sutton and Judy in tandem with Russ makes sense. He obviously has an affinity for Sutton over Judy. We mentioned the Curtis Samuel. There's also the Terry one. What else are you guys getting to down here?
Not much.
So, yeah, I'm not quite down there. I mean, the two are the old dusty veterans. I mean, Adam Thielen and DeAndre Hopkins look pretty good to me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm surprised that Colts Titans game is that low of a total. Maybe I just am way too optimistic on these offenses' abilities to put up a combined 40, but I thought for sure that would be better because, like we talked about all the Minshew stuff, but yeah, Hopkins and the big dog this week I think are extremely viable. Like we're not scared of the Colts defense on the road, right? Like,
yeah,
no.
And the other thing too is like you look at the guys that John is flagged here, and I do think you can think about them through different lenses. Like guys like Hopkins and Thielen, I think are like perfect one-offs, right? Because you don't love the game environment. We've seen games where they completely consolidate the opportunities in their offense. And then I look at a guy like Sutton or Curtis Samuel, and it's like, I want those guys in game stacks. Like if Curtis Samuel is hitting his 90+ percentile outcome, it's probably because that game is going wild in some kind of fashion. Whereas like, there's no reason like the Carolina Panthers could score like 10 points, but Adam Thielen could still have like 120 and a touchdown, like that's very within the range of outcomes.
Yeah. Amari Cooper, who you mentioned earlier there, Nez, that one feels fine down here. Dotson, same game environment play if you want to stack with Howell. Noah Brown with Schultz out. Does that intrigue you guys?
I'm more gravitating to Brevin Jordan as how I want to play the Schultz being out, but I don't mind it. Like I've dismissed Noah Brown like every single week, and whenever there's opportunity, he just shoves us all in a locker. So I really can't thumb my nose at that.
Thankfully, I don't think he's going to be going a ton in the 6-person drafts, but no, I do think that there's something there, but I'm not going to be getting to it, but I think that it's viable. You keep going lower. I
don't know. I'm just scrolling, man. The AT Perry,
now there's like names that I've literally never seen him at, like DJ Montgomery. Never heard that name in my life.
that was an accidental David Montgomery click. No question.
No question. That's like the Jokic one in NBA.
Nikola Jovic.
Jovic and Jokic. All right. I want to see. I'm not sure Demario Douglas plays this week. He's still not practicing. I don't know. It kind of felt like a really sneaky one down there in some. Someone's going to have to pass this for the Chargers if Keenan Allen is not playing or not 100%. And I think there's a little bit of leverage there because I think they're still going to pass, right? I don't know.
I just cannot believe that total is 40. I'm just really not sure how that's not like in Jets Falcons range.
Yeah.
That game's going to be terrible. It's in Foxborough. Like you got a banged up Keenan Allen. The Patriots are starting Bailey Zappi for Lord knows how long.
Mm-hmm.
Eckler runs as fast as I speed walk. Like this game just like I think Eckler's ADP. I know we kind of glossed over running backs. We're going on to tight end, but Eckler's ADP for me is just like I will only take him if he falls like a round and a half.
Okay. I will say he has been falling. Like that sentiment is definitely carrying over because sometimes I just assume he's always going to be gone by the time. And then I'm like, been staring at him a few times. I'm like, fine.
Yeah, pick 20. Like, okay. Yeah. All right, buddy. Like, come here. I'll
stop clicking Zach Moss for once to take him.
If we knew Keenan Allen, say Keenan Allen gets a DNP today as well, and he's like legit looking like he's not going to play this weekend, the splits for his receiving work without Keenan Allen are drastic. And then you factor in that, no Mike Will, no whatever, blah, 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 right? Like he could find his way to like that old school Austin Eckler 10 or 11 targets
or new school Alvin Kamara role.
Yeah.
That's exactly what you're in line for, which that's worth one whole touchdown.
Yeah. At which point maybe we just draft Alvin Kamara.
Right? Yeah.
Tight end feels very top heavy in terms of like these three going every single time. I think I like Trey more than Laporta. That's just me.
I'm with you.
Yeah, same thing. Just like
I will say
so hard.
I will say Steelers are getting back Minkah Fitzpatrick most likely. Their running back core is still like a bunch of misfits that just really shouldn't be playing football. But Minkah back, I think, does like give me a little bit of pause on the McBride stuff.
How long has he been out?
For like 4 weeks, I think.
Okay. I was just worried because the Cardinals or the Steelers have been pretty bad over the middle for most of the year. I just was wondering how much like that was directly correlated with him on or off.
Him plus like the linebacking core being so banged up, I think is what's allowed that. I have no problem if you guys wanted to take McBride over Laporta, but I just want to say Minkah being back does kind of give me a little bit of pause there.
Yeah, it's more the Saints have also been pretty nails against pretty much everything, but also tight ends too. But I mean, Kyren wrote this up too of saying like the place where, Saints keep everything in front of you. And what does Goff do well? He dinks and dunks really well with Laporta, ARSB. I still think, I mean, you could say this about all these guys, I guess, but Laporta has to do what he did on Thanksgiving and get in the end zone. It's kind of, I think I've maybe been a little frustrated with Laporta after seeing some of his usage early on. He had that like 60-yard touchdown and his ADOT was super juicy. And now it's like, I was hoping he was moving toward that like uber elite tight end profile. And now it's just kind of settled more in like, yeah, it's good, but it's not like a slam dunk in the way I was hoping it was trending.
Yeah, they really need to be pushed. For me, for tight end, I'm taking George Kittle above ADP quite a bit. His ceiling seems just head and shoulders above the field this week. The matchup's amazing. The price is pretty palatable, and if you do it correct, just knowing that there's just running backs that are available for you late, it feels awesome to just lock up what Kittle can bring you guys. Would you take Kittle over ADP?
I've been doing the same thing, Nez, just partly because there's not a lot of options for me, target wise at tight end. So I've just been like, I'd rather just take Kittle now and figure it out later.
Yeah, I think the depth at running back for the flex position really is a sharp point there, Nez, to illuminate why you can afford to take the onesies higher. Like, because we talk so much about prioritizing tight end in these contests and being like, well, you're sacrificing too much in terms of ceiling. Well, actually, Kittle probably represents one of the higher ceilings comparative to some of those back end flex options.
Probably, and against the Eagles, I would venture to say, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like that. Njoku's going to project well for a lot of places. We saw the Pat Freiermuth game. Like, this is kind of like the core of 5 that are going to be going almost every single draft. Logan Thomas for me is like a pure correlation play. We all alluded to just wanting the Juwan Johnson one-off. I said the Everett one. Anything else below that? Oh, Pete, you mentioned Brevin Jordan there.
Yeah. I just think, again, I don't think I would use him as a one-off, although it honestly probably isn't that bad as a one-off. But obviously with like Stroud and Russell Wilson stuff, and it really lines up too with like Denver as well, just because they don't have a tight end that you're correlating with Russ. You almost stack Russ up with Brevin Jordan.
You don't like you some Adam Troutman this week?
Yeah. I do think we need to be a little careful. And I'm saying this to myself again, like what he is going to do for you on redacted as a $2,500 guy on full point, PPR relative to like what you guys were talking about with like, we are going to need some raw points at tight end this week. You're basically hoping that the position on the whole is pretty low scoring and Brevin Jordan scores a touchdown. And if he chips in another 40 some yards, all of a sudden he scores alongside Laporta and Kittle, you're just doing cartwheels. I mean, that's what we're shooting for. It's not, I don't want to like be like, he has 100 yard, 2 touchdown upside, because I do not think he does.
Yeah.
Right.
Full game theory in mind when
he's like
tight end.
He's the, I guess you're basically hoping that he hits the Cade Otton versus the Texans kind of like stat line, although he's on the Texans, where it's like Cade Otton's been more or less a dust ball this entire year, but he had that one game that went nuts and he had 2 touchdowns and was optimal.
I just see 6 and 4 in the box score and I'm like, that's usable. Click.
To your point there, I want to bring up the DVP stuff there, that the tight end matchup versus the Broncos. They have been the worst versus opposing tight ends in terms of fantasy points allowed this season. So
that helps.
There you go. Yeah. Any other ones? Man, I just can't shake the fact disparaging the good name of a good UW boy like Cade Otton on a day like today, Pete. The biggest game
when do your guys play? Gretch is sweating this one hard.
5 p.m. Pacific. It's in Vegas, neutral site game.
Okay.
I'm in the doghouse right now because it's fiance's Christmas party with she's an interior designer, works at like a small boutique firm, and they're having like an in-house Christmas party, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be missed. Like, come on, please, no. Like, come on, our family, like, because our family's super vested in it, right? So I was like, come on, they're having a party, like, let me just go, like, blah blah blah, and she's fine, whatever, and like leaves this morning. So I'm in this like eerie spot right now, walking on eggshells with my decision making.
How far is it from your place? Can you just make an appearance? You just make an appearance and then you dip out.
I'm not that guy. I'll get. I'm all in or I'm all out, Pete.
I don't even know what that means. I'm not that guy. If I show up there, I'm going to be holding court and talking to everyone for 4 hours.
Yeah. Well, it's also like, it's not like a drinks and appy kind of vibe. It's like the first time they're doing like sit down Thanksgiving style thing, because they just built a brand new office, and it's this whole, I don't know.
You're gonna have to really scroll down to find John in the husband of the year rankings. Yeah, so say that. The fiance of the year.
Yeah, we might not make it, man.
You're a scroll down. You're a scroll down.
She's gonna be scrolling down for a new choice. All right, let's draft a dev team already.
All right, let's go. These are a blast. These are a blast. I'm trying to. You got
Neumy.
You got
Neumy.
Oh, give it the old refresh.
Give it the old refresh. The old off and then on again.
Oh, see, they were moving tiles around.
He's moving tiles on.
He's sweating the fill rate so hard that he had to move the tiles.
There we go.
There we go. This is like the 4th overflow, no doubt. We just pump faked everybody twice.
Oh yeah,
there you go. More liquidity in the market. $5 at a time.
Oh, nice. You got a soft room here.
Bunch of fish.
Tyreek got that change from the Q tag, so RIP, crazy GM discount we were seeing once in a while there. There's some wild teams that I was seeing.
I was never once taking CMC over Hill this week.
Yeah, likewise. Although I clearly haven't done as many as you, so it means more coming from you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm at market. I wasn't running hot or anything. I think I'm at like 18%, so average is 16.
Speaking of running hot, Nez, I just upped my Jokic percentage to 40 so far through 55 drafts.
Unbelievable. We're getting that. Enjoy your midday queue.
Never wish that upon a man.
I would never.
That was rude. I would never.
I'm sorry. John, I noticed you don't have your Rudolph nose on. Do you hate Christmas?
Thank you for bringing it up. No, I did not cash both contests on Christmas last year. I did not have a single line of cash in one of the contests. So I never earned that Rudolph nose, Nez. Thank you.
I'm glad that that they respect the you got to earn that Rudolph nose. They're not just going to give you that because you're a badge bro, they're going to make you earn that. I love the keeping it sacred.
Special exemption. Who has this been for you guys? Because I think this is where the debate starts.
It does.
I've been taking AJB here, but
I'm fine with it.
I don't. It's not like I feel super strongly about it.
It's just interesting. Yeah, just like the way that
who have you guys been taking there?
It's been a mix between AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, and Amon-Ra for me. I've been doing Amon-Ra, but I think that was just me just kind of capitulating to ADP a little too much. So I've started to mix in AJ Brown, started to mix in Jalen Hurts a little bit too.
Yeah.
I'm glad that the Q tag is off Tyreek, because that one I found weird, because Tank Dell and him had the exact same week. Like identical same week in terms of practice reports, in terms of coach speak, in terms of whatever. And Tank Dell didn't have the Q and he did. And the fact that he was falling, I thought was a little, I was like, oh, this is kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
But
don't love it, but at least I don't think he ever got past like 3.
Do you know what spot
yeah.
What do we got here?
We got AJ Brown and we got a decision here. We can do the Jalen Waddle and maybe try and set up a Tua thing. We could do a backdoor Washington thing. Austin Eckler narrative, Tank.
I say Waddle or Tank because you can both set up like Howell Russ stuff opposite as our
That's how I've been playing it.
Okay, let's shit. You know what? We should have taken Tank because the Broncos guys were on the cover, and in my mind I was like, let's do the Waddle thing because you know what, on a personal level.
Easy. We'll just have our thumbnail guy update it to Sam Howell. Our thumbnail guy said no plans tonight, nothing going on whatsoever, has plenty of time to update the thumbnail.
He's gonna have plenty of time for the next couple weeks when his girl leaves him.
Our thumbnail guy.
Oh shoot.
What spot were you going to highlight, Pete?
Oh, I wanted to talk about the Dolphins running backs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This feels like a week where both are in play again. Like it feels like Broncos all over again. And I've been aping into Achane because he hasn't moved.
That's where I'm at.
Let's get weird with this one then.
Pick.
Okay, we got Eckler, we got Moss, we got Kyren.
This has been Debo for me whenever I draft.
But we probably want to leave a stack partner.
Yeah, I think we do. Pick a running back. Eckler?
Yeah.
For ADP dogs?
Sure. You scared?
I was just thinking like if we do want to go to Howell, I mean, I guess we could do it. We could have done it just a skinny with like Howell and Logan Thomas, but
this team This team right now in my mind was setting up for a Howell thing.
The other thing you can do here, like in these spots, right? Like if it doesn't break, like we could do Miami running back and say it consolidates in Waddle and them, and then build out like another, like you could do a Russ Cortland Sutton finish and just like play that even outside the game environment would be.
It'd
like
have to be a tight end.
Tight end. Yeah. Yeah, this is why tight end sucks so much this week, is from like a correlation standpoint, it gets like very hard.
Russ, Adam Troutman.
Like Pete said, it gets very hard.
CJ Stroud, Jordan Brevin. Brevin Jordan.
I feel like Crutches is going to snap pick Brock Purdy as soon as this timer runs down from Bobby G. But if he does not, okay. Kyler is a shocking development there.
Well, Des can still have a if he wants, but then we're just in stacking.
Yeah, we're in stacking hell if we do that. We can. I think a lot of people right now would fall back on Laporta, Goff.
I think we could do Howell LT.
All right.
Paired with.
Then are we going Mostert or are we going Achane?
Well, let's do Achane.
Let's do Achane. Yeah, let's do it. Because again, it obviously Mostert is going to project better no matter what. But again, like Achane is going to end up being drafted in 25% of these.
You think?
He was going earlier in the week. He was going earlier in the week because he had a Q tag early in the week and people were kind of like leveraging and stuff. I can't remember who said it in the chat on Wednesday that they had like 100% Achane and were worried about swap options. But I'd still think it's going to be like 75-80. like total when it's all said and done, because he's not going to go in 100% from here on out either, because running back is so deep and there's probably better spots to get to.
I guess I don't have a good pulse on it because I take him a lot. So like I don't know what happens if like people let him go.
Right. Yeah.
I cannot believe Deebo Samuel is still on the board. Am I missing something?
You don't have a pulse check because you just take him in the third every time.
Yeah, this is actually where he normally goes, Nez. It's just you always take him 3 rounds early.
I feel like I'm being like rolled into the asylum. Like, see, this is where Deebo Samuel's supposed to go.
LT and Howell is the plan.
I think so.
Yeah, I think you could also entertain. I like LT and Howell, but I was gonna say you can entertain a Everett and Herbert too, because Herbert, I don't do the Herbert stuff, but he does project really well.
I think we might be sleeping on a little bit of this Herbert stuff.
Why?
I don't know. I think we've been attacking that Patriots defense, and all of a sudden we're scared now. Like, they got a couple pieces back, but they're still bad. I think it lives rent free in our head that the Patriots are still the Patriots.
Yeah, no. To me, the issue, like, I don't give a shit about their defense. It's their offense I'm scared about, and not being able to push an opposing team into like needing to drop, 35 or whatever.
Yeah, the old 10-7 game from last week's not going to get it done in this contest.
Maybe not. I mean, yeah, it's not just like the defense, but also like the Chargers are just ran by donks, and in Foxborough, I just don't see a way that they're going to have a good game. But
I can't remember who tweeted it last night, or if it was something that you guys said on Ship Chasing there, where it's like, isn't it funny how like we thought Kellen Moore was the sharp, and maybe it was actually Mike McCarthy this whole time.
Yeah. It's been a wild run out for those two.
Yeah. Really tough pill to swallow. I think we should can we look at some pick'ems?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
You don't want to rip one more?
Our pick'em segment's been like, we've been really bleeding this one out, the pick'ems, because we're just so dialed in that I mean this could take like a good 15 minutes parsing through some of our favorite games.
Let's build out the Russ double stack correlation.
227.
Yeah.
That's a gift.
I don't know why that made me laugh so much. I just love that.
Great timing, great delivery from John there. Judy popping in some optimizers this week, but I would prefer Sutton, I think.
Yeah. I definitely agree there.
I think the thing is I do want to double it, in that I think we have to choose between Javonte or like Judy, basically.
What?
I don't mind Judy, I was like, should this number be like 39? Why are they making it 47 and a half?
Because he's got that 58 against the Vikings. Like, I know. I
like
we
could
the
play
Javonte
3
stuff
on the Texans, or we could,
I like the. Okay, I'll tell you why I like the Javonte stuff. I think people are going to look at last week and they're going to be like, "Oh, Samaje scored the touchdown." Blah blah blah. The usage actually trended way up for Javonte, and then they hadn't scored a rushing touchdown since something like week 1, and they scored 2 last week. Like, that gets me a little excited, a little bullish on some of this ground stuff. That maybe, And Jaleel McLaughlin's kind of just like disappeared now. So
I think I would prefer to play it through the rushing yards. Like, P. Ryan's still getting enough of the passing catching work. The touchdowns can always be volatile, so I don't like necessarily feel like I have to have the fantasy points out. I just kind of want to bank on him getting like a chunk play and getting there. What do you think?
59.5 feels fine to me.
65 last week against Cleveland. 3 weeks ago, 79 against Buffalo. He only had 11 attempts versus Minnesota. But otherwise, I mean, if he hits his attempt number here, 16 rushing attempts, I feel like he's getting 59.5.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think.
Okay. And you guys like it more than the fantasy points?
I guess here though. I mean, this obviously like do we not like the negative correlation of Russ passing yards and Javonte?
I guess the only way that this could maybe make sense is if we like do 3 Texans.
That's what I was going to say. Do you want to throw Sutton in there, John?
Okay.
58.5.
Yeah.
And then we can come back if we don't like a Texan number.
What's the last one? There's also fantasy points for Sutton if you guys prefer giving us that touchdown out.
That's not a bad thought.
I kind of prefer his fantasy points, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he scored a touchdown in what, like 5 straight or something?
The streak was broken against Cleveland, but went 3 for 61 still.
Underdog doesn't want my money because otherwise there'd be a Marvin Mims number up here.
Yeah, I don't want to co-sign that.
Yeah, let's look at Houston.
We got some Singletary stuff, but doesn't really fit the narrative as well. Wow, Brevin Jordan at 2.5 receptions already.
What's crazy too, of like, we were balking at that Jerry Jeudy number, and you come over here and it's like Nico Collins is only 10 more yards.
Yeah.
And you're going to have like a good wide receiver tied to a really good quarterback at that. It's like, I'd rather just like double Stroud with Nico and Tank.
Me too.
Okay. Do we like the attempts then, or do we prefer the passing yardage?
I think with just the profile of these wide receivers and their splash plays in the deep down the field stuff, I like going yards with them. I mean, Tank can get that on.
He's pretty efficient. Like, he's not like, if this was the Commanders, obviously, I'd be looking more at the volume, but the efficiency of Stroud, I think 265 is a gift. I actually hit Stroud early this week at 277, so paid the premium there, bought the top on that projection. Oopsie daisy.
Came down since then.
Thank you,
Nez. Yeah, you guys are welcome. They saw me hit that. They're like, oh yeah, this is.
Oh wow, that line's definitely not sharp. Nez is getting to it early. We gotta fix that.
Not to get distracted. I thought the Texans released Matt Amendola. Is he back? There's a line for Matt Amendola down here.
What?
Oh yeah. I don't know.
Weird.
I did not see that. I do not track my kicker news.
I thought that was. I thought Ogunbowale was full time.
That was one of the high points of the year.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, I think I would just be Tank and Nico yards with it.
All right.
Yeah, just like keep it pretty simple.
Yeah, it feels good.
Did they? The other one we could do. Like even if we didn't like the Brevin Jordan 23.5 too is pretty interesting.
Yeah, we cited the matchup. We cited that we already got the D tag, although D tag different than out, so you can kind of box yourself in a little bit.
No Tarantino either. It's just him and this guy, I think Eubanks or something.
Would you want to just dump Sutton out of there? Roll naked Russ in the Stroud onslaught?
I mean,
I don't know.
I think I have more confidence in that. I don't know.
You have more confidence in the 4 Stroud?
Man, we've seen it from Stroud like week in and week out, and now he's at home against the Broncos. I think that's.
I mean, the optimal is probably dropping one of Nico or Tank for Brevin, but I mean, it's a low number that it probably doesn't matter, like the 23.5. I don't know. I'm open to if you guys have a lean.
The other thing is, like, if we get no Noah Brown, both Nico and Tank's numbers go up and Brevin stays the same.
True.
So
is that a possibility?
Yeah. Like, we're buying a little CLV here, potential, if Noah Brown doesn't play.
All right. There you go. And then you can remix this on Sunday once the number goes up.
All right.
I like it. Let's lock it in.
One dog bowl entry on the line. R.I.P.
I know it's funny too. I saw a couple comments this week and I was kind of feeling it the same. I saw Dave mention on Twitter. It's like everyone's going through like dog bowl withdrawals. Like, because I like the goal line stand too, but I was just like, I want like another $25 5K size 12-person tournament.
I know. I do
get
wonder
Neumy
how
to
that would
spin it up.
fare. I know.
Yeah.
Well,
Think about it's just literally like everyone just going through withdrawals. Are like, I'm just gonna. You even name it like you name it like the dog bites like contest or something. It's just would've worked. Yeah. Should we do a mishmash of our favorite stuff?
Yeah.
Now?
I think a good starting place is downs.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, good job.
What have we've been doing is receptions, I believe, as opposed to the yards.
Yeah, I think you got 13 targets last week, right?
Yeah. 13 targets.
Last week it was 48 and a half, and he put up 46, and it was 4 catches, not 4.5. For what it's worth. That's all. It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The spot's different, the whatever's different. I just memory.
I mean, looking at his, I always want to see kind of what his ADOT has been.
Mm-hmm.
It was really low last week, 4.25. He had the one spiked week 10. It was 19.33. I'm looking at the Fantasy Life utilization report. The week before that, it was 7.3. I do think you probably want to play it receptions with him.
Receptions again? Okay. All right, let's do that one. I'm looking at this Zach Moss 18.5 receiving yards. That I mean, maybe not mixed in with Josh Downs, but just in general, that one seems. Who's going to take him off the field for third downs? Like Trey Sermon's not taking him off the field for third.
Yeah. I know. If we didn't have Downs, I do think that like that's a really fun one.
Yeah, that seems like a good number to me.
I don't. Do you guys think those are that negatively correlated?
Not if we do Minshew with it.
Yeah.
Let's circle back to it.
Yeah. Get Taysom off the screen.
Best play on the slate, bud. Ever heard of him?
Well, let's look at Nez's Debo. Nez has been slamming Debo.
Yeah. Debo.
Debo and the Niners are great. I think I prefer Purdy's numbers, but 49.5 for Debo on the receiving is pretty fun.
Well, I think we've had a lot of success. Spot? Yeah, seriously. I think we've had a lot of success stacking up the Purdy. Like we've had the Purdy Ayuk weeks, a couple of weeks. 253 against the team giving up the most points to wide receivers.
I know.
How about Debo, Kittle, Spice, Purdy?
Okay, we're back.
Jesus, double Spice from two different from the same team.
Not
I don't think he said double Spice.
Just one Spice.
You double Spice, a single Spice.
I'm not double spicing a single Spice. Yeah, like 253 passing yards for me feels great.
Agreed.
Okay. This one feels good. We're gonna build our
John goes rogue goes Leroy Jenkins with George Kittle Spice. He goes, this one feels good.
Do we want to just run back the game with on the Eagle side and check out?
That's what I was about to say. Is we were gonna build our one-off favorite plays, and now here we are going game environment again. Oh yeah.
I can't help it.
Okay, hold on. Maybe we save the Downs one for a third one then. And we do something Eagles here on the other side, if we like it. Give us a Jack Stoll.
I kind of like the Devontae Smith receiving yards. We just got the Dallas Goedert doubtful. He's been good lately,
Yeah, the splits with and without Goddard. This is gonna tick up, Nez. You're right.
And I just see, we talked about the way that teams play against the Niners already is like they already are kind of pass heavy because they know that the Niners are gonna hang a number on them. Devontae Smith receiving yards to me feels pretty good.
Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that. I was also looking at the Swift stuff. I kind of like the 53.5.
We got to take this Downs one out, right? We're playing this game environment.
Okay. Yeah. We'll get back. I kind of like GA's. We could YOLO it with a copper homage allspice.
Okay.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. 100 for what was it? 100 for 10,000 or something like
Yeah,
that.
100x.
Yeah.
Wow.
Big
Incredible.
stones.
Copper, just give us those plays and then we'll share them.
What did you put in, Devontae? Did you do receiving? Yeah.
57.5. Yeah, he feels like a yardage versus a receptions guy.
Yeah. What else? What do we like here to round this out?
Swift receptions, trailing game script from Purdy pouring it on. 2.5.
Let me look at his.
Fine. Doesn't feel amazing. It feels like pretty strong.
Swift. Yeah, man, his target share has been all over the place.
Yeah.
Only 4%. Only had 1 target last week, 3 the week before. They're just not, like, looking at even Gainwell stuff. They're just not thrown to the running back much right now.
I was gonna say lower on a Gainwell, but that might be just too risky for us. But Gainwell is not getting a lot of rushing attempts, and like he has 2 for 26 and 3 for 22. You know, implying that he's just kind of broken off something. I know 11.5 rushing yards is like really low, but I mean, is he going to get more than 1 rushing attempt in this game? I don't know.
I'm looking right now.
Might be too low. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
Is it? I mean, do we think if this game kind of shoots out, right? And we've seen, I mean, it's just like last week shot out. I'm trying to talk myself into Hurts over 241.
Yeah.
But
I think that's
been under 200 for so long.
I know. That's why I'm just
so
like getting
weird.
spooked.
Yeah. Like all he does is tush push. He's not the MVP. Dak's the MVP.
You can't tush push your way to the hardware.
Exactly. The rushing attempts, I don't know. The Hurt stuff doesn't feel great. I'm not gonna lie.
It doesn't, man. I'm having a hard time. I honestly, I think that 53.5 rushing yards for Swift.
You think so?
I like it more than any of the Hurt stuff I'm seeing.
My thesis on the Hurt stuff is like they are going to play much different than they have played all season against the Niners, and like just knowing off the rip that the Niners can torch them, and if they even do get torched, like they're going to have to play differently and throw the ball a lot more than I think we've ever seen them throw this year.
I like that take, and we talked about it again about the run defense being a little bit of a mirage, and that just teams know they have to score against the Niners. And if we're playing Devontae receiving yards, I mean, should we IKB Hurts finally clears 240?
That would be my preference, but I'm probably a little like delusional on this game at this point because
I like it. I like it.
If he passes 32 times in this, like the 32.5 passing attempts, like it's set here, he's 100% throwing an interception. 100%. 100% lock of the century. I'm good with this Hurts one though.
All right, yeah. Choose your own adventure. We're gonna share this one. You can mix and match your fifth here.
All right,
that's fun.
All right, let's get 100xer to close the show on. We'll get into some of our favorite guys. We can replicate. I believe the copper formula. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was 4 spices and a quarterback passing yard. With I think it was a double stack. He had the Josh Allen with Gabe and Diggs TD spice.
It's possible to get because they only max at 100x. So if you you can get to 100x with only like 4 spices in your.
You know what we need to get to? We haven't built a Commanders Dolphins. Should we see what spice we got over there?
Yeah.
Big time. Ooh. It starts off with one that's jumping off the page that I think we might get pulled off the site, but Achan.
Spice that up.
That's all the dude does.
They won't even give us Tyreek spice.
They're going to score 1,000,000 points on the Commanders.
Wait, Tyreek Hill, it's not spice, but man, just higher on a TD.
You can see if that's the one non-spice piece. Does Tua have a spice? No, only on his fumbles
Yeah,
loss.
fumbles
That's boring.
loss. Give us a good spice.
Come on.
We might have to go to Sammy. I mean, I think
Yeah.
we need to stay true to the spice. We can't get distracted again. We need the 100.
We can't.
Howell doesn't have a spice.
Come on. Neumy, give us some goddamn spice, buddy.
What do you think about
giving us, dude, Curtis Samuel 2x spice on a TD?
thumbs up? And what if we throw in Brian Robinson rushing receiving because they are throwing a ton? Maybe they find themselves at the goal line and Brian Robinson scores.
Do you like that more than McLaurin 1.5? Because if you do McLaurin and then you just stack it with Howell.
Okay.
We run the Copper playbook.
Well, then you just do. Can you stack passing touchdowns? You can't, right?
No, because
they don't like
that's
that.
too. That's too.
Too on the nose.
That'll get you in trouble.
I do like this though. Achan, TD, Curtis, 2x spice, McLaurin 1.5x spice, Howell over 262.5.
What if we do Howell's passing attempts because it's not at 40 and it should be at like 45?
You're right. I don't mind that.
Like the way that Miami just runs so efficient, the only way that this doesn't hit is if they're down like 50 and they take him out of the game in the fourth.
Feels like I'm watching dude.
The spy. We've all got glowing blue eyes as we look at the pick'em page. What is that that you at? Oh my god. And we need one more.
Yeah, well, it's
Rogue
the
spice?
Tyreek. It's the Tyreek one, but there's no spice attached to it. If you want to play game environment or
real quick, devs, UD devs, you got to have a thing where we can filter by spice. We need to be able to click a spice filter.
I know. I just search like TDs and hope that I catch a spice in there.
Yeah. Oh, wait. The chat says we got a down spice. I love that because we had wanted to get him in.
Okay. Let's go. Welcome back.
Touchdown.
Sure.
This is a 50xer.
Or no. So excited.
What do we get to? No. Is this
$100?
Yeah,
put 100, John. It'll let you know real quick.
100 for 10,000.
Yeah.
There we go.
Now hit submit.
Oh yeah.
I did. I had to do 100 because I can't let Copper just be the only one.
Let's go.
Fucking screenshot.
Putting that ship chasing dub to good use. That was you almost man.
We broke even last night.
Oh shit! Oh, I didn't want to bring up the Rico stuff, but I almost threw a party.
Rico has one more carry for 5 yards. It's generational wealth. It pays for multiple BDMs. God damn it!
You're doing this shirt. This shirt.
Hopper giving us so he's 50% to throw an interception. This is a good little stat there.
It's all right. My financial advisor told me 100%.
Yeah, my financial advisor last night after one beer said, yes, play this guy at heads up at one stake higher. That's what my.
Did you got the spice in there? Let's go.
Oh yes, we spiced the bankroll.
All right,
we're
having fun. We're having fun. 5 picks for 10K. That looks nice on the screen, I will say.
It looked better in the account. I like those ones. I really like those ones. I'm not gonna lie. The only other one that I might run this same one back and take Josh Downs out and put the Debo spice in and run it twice.
Say that one again, John?
This exact same for the Howell plus the Achan, but then run Debo spice instead of Josh Downs spice.
I like that. Will you share? Will you do that one and share it in the chat so I can tail without re-clicking?
Oh, I hit the wrong button. Yeah, now I gotta put it all back in.
What a fish!
What missed a fish, boy.
All right, what do we got? News on Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy, who sat out Wednesday's practice with a groin injury, was limited Thursday and full Friday. Said he will be 100% for Sunday's game at Houston. Ooh. Suck on that, Steve Smith. His groin injury, he said, I tweaked it 2 days before the last game running a route. That was November 24th.
That makes sense because that dude runs his routes like Isaiah Pacheco runs with the football.
Oh, This is how you know it's a sharp spice, because the payout now gets modified to be 23,343.75.
Gotta be careful you don't overspice.
Yeah.
We're unhinged right now. Just keep
we are Spicy Friday.
Spicy Friday. If you guys are new to the channel, came over because of the Underdog account pushing you here, make sure you guys subscribe. We do this show often on the clock every Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Although, guys, we're going to have a slightly different schedule next week. We are going to be on location in Miami. We haven't figured out the exact logistics, the exact showtime, but the plan is try to do a live on location often on the clock sometime, I think a little bit later Friday night.
Yeah, I land at 5 Eastern.
And I'm around then too.
Yes.
I'll be waiting for you.
Okay, perfect.
So we'll figure it out. My guess, I would just being realistic, I'm thinking like a 9 p.m. Eastern off and on the clock, probably Friday night.
Yeah,
it's probably going to be a
from the
later
crib
one
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
I think so.
From the house. I'll bring some equipment just in case it's needed.
Then what time is the actual draft on Saturday, Nez?
So not entirely sure yet. We just have to be there at 4:00 Eastern, and then they're going to like separate us in groups, take some of us over to a bar, some of us over to where the draft is actually taking place. And then we have the super top secret confidential draft 1 by 1 where nothing will be shared.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I did hear that they got some like very nice like burlap sacks to actually throw over your guys. They don't want you to be able to kind of piece together your exact surroundings. And I believe it's zip ties. I've been telling them if we could get like a softer twine or something that doesn't hurt as much to have your guys' hands binded. But
Nez is going to bring his own furry handcuffs, but please use these ones.
Take me away, Rudman.
Yeah.
Should be a blast. Yeah, there's gonna be a ton of content that weekend, so you just stay tuned.
Would you go as far as telling people to turn the noties on, Nez?
Hit the notification bell, guys, if you haven't. That way you don't miss anything from the Badge Bros.
There you go. The other one, Pete, I was gonna ask about was, are we planning on doing something your channel Saturday pre-draft kind of thing, or is Off and On the Clock going to be like our preview show? Then we'll do the Saturday, and then maybe like something Sunday morning before the actual sweat event. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm open to whatever we want to do Saturday. I'll probably just do I'll try to keep my cram probably going Sunday
morning.
AM. Maybe we do something fun. Maybe we make the cram, take it from behind the paywall on Sunday and do a little jam, little for everybody cram on Sunday morning. Could be fun, something like that.
Yeah, let's do something like that where you do the redacted stuff first, and then we can talk about the dog bowl stuff after. Okay.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But yeah, let's plan on having a couple shows, and but at the very least, we plan to do a Friday evening Off and On the Clock.
People are clamoring for the free cram already.
It's gonna be fun.
These guys just spent like a Kia on Spice Pick'ems, but can't afford $8.99 a month for 8 premium shows.
I teased that one the other day where it was like for the price of one draft on Underdog, when you're putting in 150 hoops ones every single day to support our channel, one draft a month.
Become a member to the Badge Bros. Although eventually you can't just keep threatening premium content. Eventually you do have to offer premium content.
That's the inevitable conclusion that we have yet to actually reward anybody with. It's coming.
All right. Appreciate you guys. Very fun show. Love doing this. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the Badge Bros channel. Good luck in week 13. I will certainly see you in the lobbies over the next 40 some hours. Any final words from you guys here?
No, wish me luck next week though. Big week, big dog bowl week.
We're gonna save wishing you luck for just.
I need it early. And I need it often.
Yeah.
We're literally focused on this week right now, and you're already trying to make it about that. You get your shine next week, buddy.
All right.
Yeah. Who we really all need to wish luck is John Warner as he navigates this very tricky scenario tonight between the boutique event and the Washington Huskies playing in a major
go
football
Dogs.
Game. Prayers up.
Go Dogs. All right. I'm Pete. This is Nez. This is John. We love you. We'll see you guys next time.